Hello there, and welcome to the Night Owl, a show that we do twice a week where we discuss the latest in pop culture news and reviews and even some gaming news. And today we certainly have a lot going on, and I feel like we lost one of our panelists. Sean, are you
I'm
there?
here. I'm here. I'm trying. I'm just.
Uh,
I'm not sure why.
He's not on the screen, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just the
okay.
I'm
two
just
of us up
worried
there.
that I'm like I did something that's not
There
working.
we go.
Yeah. There you go. No.
That's so weird.
No, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. We have our full.
I am new to the ways of the Rumble.
We have our full crew, or somewhat full crew. As you guys know, Dreadroberts, like I said, he's doing a lot of stuff with his family these days. There's some family duty things going on. He always has this kind of open invitation. Sometimes he pops in, pops out, uh, but we understand he has a lot of stuff going on, and always happy when he is here. And maybe we'll see him pop in or pop out. But in the meantime, I have this great panel of gentlemen with me here. We have Professor Artoo. How's it going, Professor?
Well, yeah, going fine. Doing well. Suffered through the Acolyte this evening, and we'll get to talk about that at some length, I'm sure.
We certainly will. And we also have the real Sean Krummel. He's an artist. He has his own sticker collection. And you can see his stickers at realseankrummelart.etsy.com. And he draws. He does retro comic book reviews, and both of them are, in my opinion, experts on Star Wars. Probably bigger experts than me.
Trying to
Very
fix
knowledgeable.
a lightsaber right now.
What'd you say?
Trying to fix a lightsaber right now.
As we speak, he's trying to fix a lightsaber. We caught him at the right time.
Yeah, man.
So we got that going on, and tonight was the finale of the Acolyte, and man,
Was
that
it ever?
finale, yeah, that was a terrible, terrible finale.
I can't wait to hear.
I see Rida Ibn Muhammad in the chat. Hail, how's it going? Yeah, nice Hail chat and panel. Thanks, nice to see you. So yeah, the Acolyte. First of all, Sean, you're the luckiest man on earth that you only watch the Acolyte through us. We basically describe it to you. You're
Mhm.
basically,
Every
you're
channel that I watch that I get their reactions to.
So yeah, it's certainly a very crappy finale, but the show itself wasn't good until now. And we have DJ Play Nice, who, true to his brand, says "we."
That's called branding.
That's some great branding right there. So we're gonna jump into this thing. We'll start off talking about the Acolyte and the season finale here. After that, there's a lot of stuff going on in entertainment these days, and also in politics. And we're going to discuss a bit how politics affect entertainment, how entertainment affects politics, how we got to the place that we got to, and where we're perhaps going. And it'll be an interesting discussion. But let's start with this wonderful Acolyte episode. I'd say wonderful. I'm just kidding. It's complete.
Oh, you
trash.
can't. This was comedy gold, is what this was.
What?
absolute comedy masterpiece.
It's so bad that it's like it's sort of an embarrassing. I don't. I know we're gonna laugh at it together, but I wanted it to be even more funnier. It was just bad.
So
Like
it failed
I
as
feel
even
like
a comedy.
There were moments of this series until now that I laughed harder. This one was just kind of like a pathetic whimper.
Oh, there was quite a bit of, wait, what? What?
Why? Yeah, no,
why
there's.
Why did they do that?
It's
I
certainly.
feel like that's all of Disney Star Wars, though.
Just
Wait,
total
what?
confusion. One of the keystones of great storytelling are your characters.
Yeah.
Your characters need motivation. And that motivation is what drives them to take the actions that they do. Those actions and their motivations drive the story. The story unfolds, and you tell, what has happened, and it evolves out of the characters.
Yes.
As opposed to really terrible storytelling, which is just this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens. And the motivations for these characters are so completely screwed up. I mean, not that we haven't seen that through this whole series, but in this series, they're just like they turn on a dime and there's something else. And it makes no sense whatsoever. It's disastrous.
I will say, like, as someone that's trying to be a storyteller in my own stuff, it's difficult to not fall into that this happens and then this happens
Yeah.
trap.
It is.
Like you hear a lot of like great authors, whether you like them or not, Stephen King or my favorite, Ray Bradbury. It's like it's not about telling the story, it's revealing the story and letting the characters take you where they're gonna go.
Yeah.
So
so what I'll tell you is this. This episode starts off where we left off last time. I think for me, I just already at this point, I couldn't care less about any of these characters. This is Star Wars in name only. There's nothing about this that makes me feel like I'm watching Star Wars. You know, when they took a show like Obi-Wan, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, and you have Ewan McGregor, that feels like they're taking something that you do know and you do like, and they're playing around with it in a crappy way. Even there were moments maybe in The Mandalorian early on, or maybe even the idea of Ahsoka continuing the Rebels or the Clone Wars or whatever it is. But in this case, none of these characters mean anything to me. I don't care about them at all. Like if I watch this episode now and it turned out that all the characters were standing and there was a bomb that went off and I don't know what they were all disappeared or something, like it wouldn't, there would be no emotional weight to it. You know what I mean?
yeah.
They've built nothing. They've built nothing to make you connect with any of these characters. So whatever their fate is on the show, you don't really care because it doesn't even matter. That's the way I see it.
I think I was listening to Midnight's Edge in the morning, and Chado was on there. Call me Chado, and we had our stream like the night before talking about the last episode, and everything he was saying was like everything we had said. It's like, this is the campfire scene. This is where people are supposed to have personality and smile and tell jokes, maybe even fart. And it's like, yes, man, this is where you're supposed to connect with the audience. But I've seen nothing from anything you guys have shown me to even give a crap about these guys.
We'll get to summarizing things in a bit. But what happens here is that it starts off this Sith guy, whatever he's supposed to be. He is. He let her put on that stupid Smilo Ren helmet.
Yeah, she slipped on that helmet at the very end of not the last episode, but the episode before that, episode 6. She slipped that helmet on, and then now apparently, she is in his head like her mother got into the other Jedi's head in the other episode, like right, messing with his head somehow. But we've never been told she could do that.
Nope.
She's never shown that power before.
No,
but somehow putting on the helmet like gives her the power to do that, or
right. But then once she does it, it doesn't matter anyways. Like even this doesn't matter. It's like like she takes off the helmet and it's just like okay, and nobody ever mentions it again. It's just she did it, and who cares? Just another dumb thing that doesn't matter.
Does that mean that she can read his thoughts or something?
I guess. She can get into his head, I guess.
Yeah, in the previous, but then they've established that supposedly he can do that too. He can also get into people's heads.
I guess
that was established in an earlier episode. They said they said he gets into people's heads or whatever, and she says my mother could do that, right? So apparently he has that power too, but we don't actually see him use it. Just somehow she's in his head and he manages to fight it off and remove the helmet, and then that automatically breaks the connection that she's made.
This isn't defined
no
enough. There isn't a defined description of what all these powers are. It's just it's just a bunch of nonsense, really. And the other thing is, this actress, and I said it last time and I'll say it again. There's something so weird about this actress in the sense that when I look at her, it's like in the scene she's not a good actress, but she's always has this look in her eye, like she wants to give. And I'm sorry I said this, but I'll say it again. And I'm not trying to offend anybody. She always looks like she's about to give somebody a blowjob, but she's hesitating and she's not sure if she really does want to do that. That's the face. It's as if there was a director. That's what he keeps telling her, and that's what she looks like. Somebody's just, maybe it's Leslie Headland, I don't know. She's like, listen, you got to make it look like you're about to give a blowjob, but you're not sure if you want to do it. And that's, if you think about it, every scene, that's the same stupid face. And I don't, you can't tell if she was sensual, is she this, is she that, and there's no range. There's no range. Like just like this kind of eyes wide open, with the lips of like,
yeah. I think I think the last like 2 streams I've been on with you guys, like I'm like, nobody makes a face that's other than like just reaction or stupid or something. It's like, does anyone effing smile in this show? Does anyone tell a joke?
No, they're always like somber and whatever. This is something that also started with Ahsoka. Everybody has to make like this sour face all the time, and if there's women, they have to seem especially sour. And
that's
sorry,
like a failure of direction. I think I keep saying that.
Unfortunately for this actress, she may be the best actress of all time, but you wouldn't know it from watching this show. And because this is the first impression I've gotten of her, I don't know that I'll ever be able to unsee what I've seen here.
Yeah, meaning like she could be great, despite her coming off as a horrible C word in interviews. But like, there's no life to these characters.
I don't know that she's great at interviews either, but I will say that video that she called everybody ists and phobes for not liking the show, that rap song or whatever she did, I will say that in that one, she at least exhibited a little bit more character than on this show. Like, it's odd because it was the most annoying video and it was the most like stupid gaslighting and dumb crap.
But she was still allowed to show emotion,
right?
Even if she's being a racist, at least she's showing emotion.
At least she was passionate about being like a racist, I guess. So
a horrible human being. She's
horrible human being, but she was very
alive.
Passionate.
Yeah.
At least there was like something like naughty about it. Like she's making these kind of like winking and doing stuff. Here, she just has that same stupid deer in the headlights, possible blowjob face.
Is this the face?
And it doesn't matter which character she's playing. She's playing twins.
I'm trying to do the face.
Yeah. Oh wait, sorry.
It's very wide-eyed and like nothing mouth.
Not entirely sure what I'm seeing. Am I supposed to be horrified or am I supposed to be excited?
I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
Wait a second.
I'm just being dumb.
Oh,
Backyard TARDIS says, hello everyone. We'll check back in 30 minutes to see if that Acolyte talk is done. Why? Well, join us. Backyard TARDIS. You don't want to hear about this?
Come hang out with your best friend Sean, who can't be on Quantum Leap anymore, and it really disappoints him.
So this is now she's the same actress, but now she's playing the other sister. Same face. Same face. It doesn't matter, like, she doesn't come off as different in any way, shape, or form.
It's secretly brilliant because she has to play a twin.
Yeah.
And here, like, she's always, like I said, it's the same weird face all the time. Yeah. And in this case, Soul is just the dumbest idiot, on Earth.
Yeah.
He's the dumbest Jedi to ever live. He tied her to this thing, but of course he left her that stupid weapon.
He doesn't disarm her. He doesn't take the little droid. He just ties her up And
I
then
mean,
we get to see
Yeah.
yet another magic power from this droid. It can weld. It can put out fires. It can squirt on people. It
didn't
can.
she factory reset this thing? And he already
Oh.
noticed. He noticed there was something weird about it last episode.
Yep.
It's like now he forgot about it and just let her sit there with the weapon. This guy is the Forrest Gump of Jedis.
What's the
He's-
droid? Is it like an
Oh, he's
R2
back.
unit?
Yes, no, it's her little pip droid. It's basically her
Her
smartphone
smartphone,
that
yeah.
combined with a sonic
Oh.
screwdriver. Like it can do anything that the story
Is-
asks it to do. So
Is
no,
that
she
right?
uses it
right
to
there?
lock pick. She uses it to lock pick her restraints. Of course, it only picks one of them. But then she manages to just get right up off the table. So I'm not sure what happened to the other one, but she uses it as a lockpick, and then she uses it as a taser.
That is. That's incredibly stupid.
It's
Okay.
incredible stupid.
So, wait.
Before this, no,
Go ahead. What? Sorry.
Sorry, you go on.
just say before this, they have an argument saying that yes, oh, you killed my mother. You killed my mother. Yeah. I did kill your mom. It was justified. She was turning into a giant smoke demon, and I stabbed her because I thought she was killing you.
Anytime you call
Yes.
yourself a witch, I think we're allowed to burn you. Yeah. So one thing I really despise about Disney taking over Star Wars is that I still haven't finished the Rebel show, but when I was growing up, the A-wing and the B-wing were like experimental fighters to combat the TIE Interceptor. So there was like an escalation in technology between the three movies, which I always found fascinating because like as the movies go on, the Empire makes a new TIE fighter, the Rebels have to make something new to fight it. This little handheld sonic screwdriver goes against all my senses of reality for the Star Wars universe because R2D2 is a mechanic, like, and he's a a big booty chonky droid that they depend on to repair stuff. So when you introduce a new technology, like whatever the hell this thing is, I'm like, I don't like this.
Yeah,
No,
for
there's
the
a
universe.
few problems with it. First of all, it's like a smartphone. If
Yeah.
R2D2 was a smartphone, that's what it would be. The other thing is that this is happening 100 years or whatever it is before
Exactly.
the events of those movies. So why would they have this smartphone little sonic screwdriver that does the same thing?
And then
And,
why would they lose that technology like
Mhm.
hundreds of years later? That's
Right.
Everybody would be
fucking
carrying one of
stupid.
these multi-tool things around with them everywhere they go because it can
And-
do everything.
And
Why
how
would we
it-
have R2s then?
And how could he possibly not disarm her? I mean, this is just like this. You can't write a character that's that stupid. He's
Well-
supposed to be this wise and formidable Jedi. He's
Yeah.
just gonna, let her sit there with the thing just so close to her hand and just leave her with a tool. Which he in an earlier scene last time he saw that she had the tool. So it's not like you can say, well, he didn't know that she had it. He was talking about the tool with her and telling her about the tool and her relationship with the tool. So really, I don't know what to tell you.
And
It's
also,
pretty cool, Sean.
thanks. The rubber guards got like really tacky over the years, and it's been driving me crazy. I had a question. Dang it, I lost it. Go ahead. What are you gonna say?
It's
No,
okay. Sorry, you go on.
I think we have the same saber. Mine's exactly the same way.
It's like the first master replicas of
Yep.
of
Yeah,
Luke,
the original.
and it got really
Anakin master
tacky.
replica. Yeah.
And my dad had the same problem, and he actually managed to clean it up. And I was like, "How the hell do you even figure that out?" And he's like, "Get
Let's see.
some car detailer and some
Yeah.
lighter fluid." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"What are you, a wizard?"
It's I laughingly call that stuff. I call it soft touch leprosy, because there's a whole bunch of devices that had that soft touch rubber stuff applied to the exterior of them, and all of them go bad after about 10 years, and
Well,
you get this tacky, disgusting
yeah.
stuff. It's terrible.
Well, it's making me question if I could use it on old action figures because they get the same problem. I'm sorry, we are way off
Possibly.
topic.
Yeah.
I'm never
Like
gonna
we want to talk about this.
But by the way, if you're watching this stream and you enjoy what we're doing, please consider subscribing, following, or whatever platform you're on. Make sure to join us. And also, this is Professor Artoo and the real Sean Krummel. You should also check out their channels and see what they're up to.
New lightsaber tips.
But moving forward within this thing, she knocks Soul out. She starts running.
Yeah,
and
she
then
knocks him out, and then she says, "See you in hell."
I
This
feel
is
like
just as bad as several episodes ago when he says, "Take the wheel." It's this modern American language. It does not belong in Star Wars. You do not have characters in Star Wars.
You do.
Yes,
I mean, you have
do.
Han Solo.
I remember that
You
from
ha-
Empire Strikes Back, but even then, I did not like that.
I
Well,
didn't
there-
love it, but I think that Harrison Ford's delivery and the situation actually made it fun, even
Yeah,
though
it works,
it may not have been the best use, but I think that it was well done and fun. I think one of the worst things about this one is that even when she delivers that sentence, it's the same stupid delivery we've seen until now, and her being chased away by this weasel. This sniffing
I want
Beaver.
to like this guy.
Jedi sniffing weasel. There's nothing to
Yeah.
like about the Jedi sniffing weasel.
Panty sniffing beaver. Yep.
I love the Ewoks. I grew up at exactly the right time to love the Ewoks. I want to like this guy.
And she's making the face again.
That helmet looks
Yep.
enormous.
It looks ridiculous.
helmet.
But look at the face that she's making. Not right. You can't unsee what I told you.
Yeah.
This is the exact face that I described. And Soul's going after her. She's
We get to see
continuing.
we get to see even more terribly designed spaceships. These are awful.
And also even them flying
Ugly
here.
as
What are they supposed to be? Asteroids? What's even going
It's
on?
supposed to be the
what's
rings of the
happening?
planet they're around, but there's apparently like layers of rings here, like dual rings. And so she flies between them because she's got her little tiny fighter. Okay.
Oh,
So what? She dives into the rings. You don't have to go in after her. You can follow.
I meant to ask
Eventually,
you.
she's going to get out of the rings.
I meant to. I'm sorry. I meant to
No, go
ask
ahead.
you. Whenever she escaped with her stupid sonic screwdriver, she is able to access the Force, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
The only way to really combat somebody that's Force sensitive in my head has always been knock them the F out. So, like, if you leave anyone in restraints, like, they could just unlock the locks or call something over or whatever. Use the Force to unlock them. You just have to make them unconscious. So, I'm sorry, like, to go backwards, but that makes even less sense to me that she was able to escape and is now flying through the two rings.
Well, let's not forget that a few episodes ago, her motivation was that she's decided she was going to turn herself into the Jedi for what she had done.
Oh, which sister is this? Is this the good one or
This
the
is
bad
May.
one?
This is May.
This is supposedly the bad one, yeah.
This is the bad sister dressed as the good sister.
Yeah.
What did she do that was bad? Kill the other Jedi?
She killed.
She killed two Jedi for the start.
She
yeah.
killed Carrie-Anne Moss. By the way, I was sure that Carrie-Anne Moss would return because I said to myself, "There's no way that they hired her and put her on the poster if she's not going to come back and there isn't going to be some kind of, oh, you thought I was dead. I was actually the big boss." Anything really. I mean, why would you even hire her? The fact that they hired her and she just died in that after 5 minutes is just the weirdest thing.
Maybe they were hoping for a season 2.
I don't know, man. I think that you don't hire an actress and put her all over your marketing just to kill her. I mean, I would say that they didn't have enough money to pay for her, but this had $18 million an episode. I'm sure, with all due respect, it's not like Carrie Ann Moss now has the amount of bookings she did back in the day. I mean, I'm not saying she doesn't get booked for anything, but they certainly could have done something with her more than this. This is really just embarrassing.
Well,
Uh,
she definitely earned a reputation for the Matrix. No one's hiring her because she was in Red Planet with Val Kilmer.
well, in any case, Soul, goes after her. This sniffing Jedi sniffing beaver, I can't, I just can't with it. I'm
He
sorry.
looks terrible,
Yeah.
but I
No,
love that they
so-
got a little person for it.
Yeah, so he's following her into these rings. He doesn't need to. He's got a bigger ship, a faster ship.
Did they
He
get a
could-
little person for it? It could be CGI.
Is it? Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think I saw him running one day, and I was
I
like,
mean,
oh.
I'll tell you this: if they
Yeah.
got a little person, I am happy because I think that
Yeah.
it's nice. They don't get a lot of work, and I actually know little people, and I hope that they do hire. That would be great.
Yeah,
But
they're getting even less work now because you got
Yeah.
other idiots out there who are like, well, you can't hire them because they're small. Because then
Say the name. Say Dinklage.
whatever.
He deserves
no,
all
yeah,
the
Dinklage.
derision.
Dinklage has ruined it for a lot of
He's
little
a
people.
scumbag.
Yeah, just
He-
just like a lot of them, you get to the top and then pull up the ladder.
Yeah.
I think I've said it before that I gave the example of O.J. Simpson that people would say like, oh, like you're black, and he's like, I'm not black, I'm O.J. So I think that the same thing with Peter Dinklage, where somebody is like, oh, you're a little person, I ain't little, I'm Peter Dinklage, and it's like, okay, and that's probably why that most of the little people in Hollywood don't get any work anymore, is because of him. I don't want to be mean. I mean, maybe he didn't intend for that to happen, but I really think that he contributed to that issue.
I
But
feel like
regardless-
he's an actor, and his hubris got to him, and now he's ruined it for everyone else.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
listen, there was a moment in time that he was on the #1 show in the entire
Mhm.
world that was #1 for a very long time until that shitty final season.
Mhm.
And for most of the seasons, when you turned on the show, the first name you saw in the credits was Peter Dinklage. And he would go and collect like an Emmy every year. Maybe he
Mhm.
collected 3 consecutive Emmys or something. So obviously the
Well, and
success...
he was damn good in that show.
He was.
Oh,
He
yeah,
was
everyone
really
loved
good.
him.
And he wasn't there because I mean, yes, the character he was supposed to play was supposed
No,
to be
he
a
was
little
little,
person.
but that's not what made the character good. It was
Exactly.
actually his acting.
It was his
His
words.
acting was
Right.
incredibly good.
Yeah.
It was he portrayed that character as incredibly smart and clever and even
Yes.
devious.
I
And
didn't even watch that show, and I was like, this guy is cool, and I love
Yes.
that he's a little person.
Yeah, no,
but
no.
no, we can't hire little people anymore because that's racist.
No,
or
I mean
something.
not to take away what he did. I thought he was fantastic on Game of Thrones, and I really was rooting for him not only on the show but even as an actor.
Absolutely.
But I do think that it's one of those people that the success went to his head, and he forgot,
Yeah. Yes.
what his roots are. And
Mhm.
in a way, I think that whether intentionally or unintentionally, he really caused a lot of other people that would have had maybe opportunities that are like him not to get these opportunities. But none of that matters now. Back to this crappy Star Wars finale. They're doing this thing. I initially, it's the rings. I didn't even get she's going through the rings. I thought it was like some kind of mini asteroid field, but
Yeah.
whatever. It's
Well,
rings.
she was going through the rings, and then he was following her, apparently trying to kill her. I could not tell what he was doing other than
you never
he was
know what
trying
these
to kill her.
characters are doing, because sorry, go on.
But then the panty sniffing beaver comes in and sabotages the ship. Why?
Wait,
Because he's afraid that he's gonna kill May. That makes no freaking sense.
I didn't quite understand that part. I was a bit confused about this. The beaver. I didn't get this part. So the beaver comes out and he's
he sabotages the ship that he's on, potentially killing himself.
That face is still terrible. As someone that loves designing aliens, that I want to like the beaver, but he's awful.
No,
he's awful.
Fart sniffing beaver is not. So yeah, okay. I guess he sabotages the ship. Now back at Leslie Headland's wife's office, uh, loser beta Jedi guy.
Mog.
Mog tells her that
His name
some
is
council
Mog.
member is there. Then he comes in and he's like, "I'd like to run an investigation on the Jedi. I heard that there was a murder." And then
He's a
she starts
Jedi?
like telling him about stuff, and she's like, "Well, there were a few different casualties." He's like, "You have too much power. We need to make this stop." And then I don't know what. To be fair, I will say this: this actor here on the right is actually one of the better actors I've seen on this show until now.
Mhm.
It doesn't really matter to the plot or the story because it's terribly written and there's nothing for him to do. But I feel like at least the actor tried to bring some kind of gravitas in the part that he's saying that they want to investigate them. I
That's
at least felt that he
honestly
was trying.
respectable. That's respectable when the you can tell the actors are this. It's just crap, but they're giving it their all.
I feel like he was trying. I feel like he was. I don't know if you guys noticed it, if Professor Artoo you noticed.
Yeah.
I felt like this actor was making an effort. It's an effort that goes practically unnoticed, and it doesn't matter really in the grand scheme of things because this thing is so bad. But I did feel like he wanted this to be a good show, and he wanted to try to give a good performance.
Melvin called him Senator Tuvok, and that made me chuckle.
Senator what?
Oh,
Tuvok from Voyager.
Yeah, that's actually a good description of him. But somebody wrote, "Who is she?
Played
The
by
green
Tim
lady's
Russ.
from the planet Furfur." She is Leslie Headland's wife. So the
Yep.
former assistant of Harvey W. When she got the gig, her first order of business was to make her wife. And I guess it's now a tradition. If you have a wife and you're working for Lucasfilm, that your wife is going to be a green skinned character.
She looks like Barris Ophi's apprentice with the diamond tattoos. I forget her name.
She looks like the singer Pink if the singer Pink like shaved her head and
I'm
put
not
green
saying
makeup on.
Painted
I'm
herself
not
green.
I'm not saying the actress. I'm saying like the character looks like it's
Yeah.
based on crap. What is her name?
It's
Barris
based on
and
crap for sure. By the way, hey Melvin, how's it going? Melvin's a friend of the channel. Always good to see him here. He's usually either sleeping, I don't know, usually sees it after the fact. So it's nice to see. I also want to say hi to 1T72, Empress NM, Jay Goodwin, Phantom Monk. I saw Kivo here before.
oh, she is
Tim's
Barris
Talk.
Ophi.
I
Who's
hope
the
I didn't.
master?
Jay Goodwin. I hope I didn't miss anybody. Anyhow, back to this thing. So Leslie Headland's wife is like, "No, there doesn't need to be an investigation. Don't worry about it." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "I am worried." And then this just scene goes on forever for no reason. Then again, this stupid planet, and now you have Osha who's dressed as May, and she's with the Sith guy, and this is all really weird.
Wait,
He's
is
like,
Osha the good one or bad one?
okay, as I expected in this one, at the end, Osha and May, I said this early on, that at the end it'll be that Osha and May are the real victims here,
Yeah.
and all the rest of the people are terrible, including the Jedi. And the
Mhm.
more male the Jedi is, the more probably bad that Jedi is. And I
Sure.
think that they pretty much fulfilled all of that. But here on this island, this Sith, phony Sith, I don't even know what would Smilo Ren, whatever people call him. He's like, "Won't you let me train you? You could be my apprentice," or I don't know what. And she's like, "No, I don't think so." And again, the same look that I keep talking about. She's not
Mhm.
able doing any other look. Like no matter what, she's doing that same stupid face.
But is that the actors or the poor direction? Like we
It's
don't have you.
We'll
We
never
don't. We don't
know.
have any material for you to express any emotion other than
You
our
know what?
BS story.
You know what? If I was on this set and I knew what a stinker this was, even if the director said like make the blowjob face, I'd be like, I'd pretend that I'm agreeing, but then when the camera rolls, I'd like try to bring some character to it because what am I gonna do?
Well,
I
like
mean,
even if someone's telling you information, your face will probably betray you. You're gonna express confusion or sympathy or like entertainment or like smiling. All these characters are just
Yeah.
Anyhow, so she
So
makes
before we move on, though, I just want to mention in that previous scene where we had the senator who's there saying, "Oh, we need to investigate the Jedi," whatever. We get, I think, what is sort of the core of what they were trying to get to in this show,
that the
and
Jedi
that is
rotten.
that he believes that the Jedi are a delusional cult who claim to be able to control their emotions when that is not possible. That's it's they control the impossible. They claim to control the impossible, and so they're just this corrupt group that masquerades
Almost like
around like they're a religion.
yes, almost like if and like a kind of allegory to like people that are religious today, almost like a wink wink to that. But let's just say that even though it seems like an annoying modern day type of allegory, if everything else about this show would have been cool and there's one senator saying that, you can say, okay, well, there's one weird senator saying that. But the fact is, this whole thing from day one, they wanted the Jedi to look bad, and they keep trying to present, deconstruct everything. They've already deconstructed every single thing, but now the Jedi are crap too. And it's funny because ever since Disney bought, Star Wars, you never see even a Jedi with a lightsaber acting like, I can't remember the last time there was like a male Jedi with a lightsaber that acted cool or, had some kind of good values or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's always this kind of
probably Kenobi in the prequels.
Like it's always this kind of gray, quote unquote, gray area. Oh, and you may remember this from The Last Jedi even, and that was an early sign of it, where Rose Tico is like, oh, like they're good, they're all bad. You know what I mean? Trying to show like that everybody is bad, that everything is bad, that the Jedi is bad. There was some kind of angle there of like everybody is bad, if you remember that.
Yeah. Well, and that's part and parcel of the idea, the moral relativism, I think, that is sort of at the center of this whole show and what we're trying to get to.
It's
that everybody's bad, but everybody's can be good or whatever, and what's good is that you get to do what you want or something.
Something like that. It's the people making this show are so sorry, and I apologize for this, but this is my opinion. Dumb, with like stupid life experiences, living in some kind of weird bubble,
or no life experience.
No life experience.
They're a bunch of weirdos, and this thing, but not good weirdos, not in a good way. They're a bunch of weirdos, and we're getting a manifestation of their kind of weird, whatever it is that they do. It's translating to the screen, and I don't mean that as a compliment. This is exactly what happens when you bring a bunch of people that know nothing about Star Wars. Forget about Star Wars. Know nothing about writing. These people do not know how to write a show.
They know. I'm always saying how much I despise the internet, even though I love having my phone so I can look up words when I'm reading.
No, not too far. You're gonna miss out. You got to go back. Gotta go back. Okay, we can have some.
We talked about it like 2 weeks ago, where it was like, if you hire a weirdo that has weird ideas, they're gonna express that on screen, and that's all we're seeing from this writing room is weirdos with weird ideas that live in fear of each other. And it's like, why is the show bad? Well, obviously, you people are psychotic.
So after she goes on with her Versace hoodie to get onto that hideous looking spaceship with Kamir, we get a strange inserted shot back to the cave where they have been, which we have seen this cave multiple times. It is a tiny little space. And then as they fly off, we get to see this creepy, weird thing creep out around the side and kind of peek as they leave. And clearly, this was intended to be Darth Plagueis. Where's Darth? You might have to play for a second there.
Because I've heard people speculate, oh, that's a creepy hand. Oh yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah. So where was he? I don't know. I think he was hiding in the jacuzzi. But
No,
yeah,
that's totally playing on, because I think Darth Plagueis was like a Doros in the expanded universe, right?
I cannot remember
And
what he was, but
and
yeah,
he's got the
he didn't
flat
have a
face.
nose. Yeah, he had the
Well,
flat
thank
face.
God for that, because so many
Yeah.
people were like, "Are they gonna subvert everybody and make the black woman Darth Plagueis?"
Yeah, yeah. So no, there's
Hey,
Plagueis. He
you
was
never
apparently
know.
there.
You don't.
Yeah, who knows?
It could
Uh,
still be her. In
he
any
was there
case,
hiding out in the corner, doing
Yeah.
something. Who knows? Uh,
I mean, when I saw that scene, it didn't
um,
even. I guess it could be Plagueis, but I kind of didn't even
well,
care.
the
I'm
thing
just like,
is,
this is
No, it
just dumb.
totally looks like him.
the thing
You
is
pull
that
up the cover, it looks like him.
if you're familiar with any of the EU and the Plagueis book in particular, where there's kind of an illustration of him there, then
Oh,
you
he's
might be
got
able to go,
Doros.
oh, that's Plagueis.
He has a
Almost nobody in the general audience would have
Yeah, I
any
don't. I
idea who
didn't
the
know what he
hell
looks
that
like.
was.
I didn't know. I mean, yes. Now that you say it, it makes sense. But like, I just said, like, oh, this is another dumb thing that I don't care about.
So
Yeah.
again,
That's what I was thinking. Or I thought that maybe this character would become relevant later, which
Oh,
they
he's a
didn't. So
Mun, not a
quite
Doros.
certain that this was a 11th hour, oh hey, we need to insert something cool here thing that they had done after the fact
yeah, we need a
with
water cooler
CGI.
moment. Like, we need a water cooler
Yeah.
moment. Let's just have this shot that we already have anyways, and we'll just do like a stupid thing, and we're like, we show Plagueis, and
Where he
somebody will.
creeps out like he's Gollum or something,
Oh,
just
so if you
whatever.
go to Wikipedia and the canon Darth Plagueis, because it's split up between canon and legends, and I never look at canon.
Oh yeah.
It has this image from this show already, and
Oh,
it
I'm
says
sure.
Darth
I'm
Plagueis.
sure
I'm
it
sure.
does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now,
So yeah, confirmed.
So this tells us then that Darth Plagueis learned what we're told about in the tragedy of Darth Plagueis. He learned how to manipulate the midichlorians to manipulate life from space lesbian witches.
So I have a question, but I'll try to save it to the end.
I want to say hi to Real Wade Nation Gaming Live. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
Go on. Sean, you were going to ask something?
No, I have a question. I'll try to save it till the end of the
He's
show.
gonna save it for later.
Yeah,
So
save
that-
it for the
uh,
thing. So
for
anyhow,
the full wrap up.
Leslie Headland's wife tells Beta Jedi that they need to go to this Ben. What's this thing called? Remind me.
Brindok. Yes, this
Brindok.
is the planet where the space witches lived. The lesbian space coven lived.
Look at her face. Am I not right?
Yep.
She's doing the
And,
same
and
fucking
again,
thing.
check out that sweet Versace brand hoodie there. It's very
Yeah,
stylish.
it is. It's very fashionable. Anyhow, Soul arrives here, and man, I mean, they talked about this guy as some kind of like the best Jedi or whatever. Never has there been like a bigger bum than this Soul guy. And
Oh
then
yeah,
they-
and everyone really liked him earlier in the series. They liked his performance. They thought maybe this was going to be an interesting character, and then he just makes one stupid decision after another. Till at this point, we're like, this guy's a complete idiot.
I still feel bad because I do like the actor.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter how I feel about the actor, which I think that, he was a cut above most of the cast members around him, but it didn't really help him because it's so poorly written. But
but we get to see Soul, though, apparently is able to, once again, as we saw in the previous episode, scale the entire freaking mountain to get into this fortress, where we see other characters saying, oh no, we're going to have to use this use this elevator to get in, right? But no, he just skitters his way right on up there. Unbelievable.
this is just pathetic. But yeah,
And
okay.
then moments later, it gets even worse.
And the thing also that I'll say is it feels so cheap considering that this is $18 million an episode. What's the $18 million going on? They're always walking like through some corridor or whatever it is. And usually it feels like it's overdone in that kind of volume or whatever it is. Nothing here feels, it could be that it's practical and it doesn't seem practical to me, but everything feels like overproduced and somehow cheap.
Yeah.
Well, when the first episodes started airing, I heard someone say everything looks dirty and clean at the same time. Or it's something like even the dirty sets feel clean. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah. We see that apparently somehow May has climbed back up the same hole that she fell down 16 years ago. She's climbed back up that hole, even though later we see this and it's basically a sheer drop. There's no idea how she has possibly scaled up this.
Yeah, no, that's never really explained well either. They don't even bother explaining it.
And we also, there's another thing that's missing. It's just me, just kind of paying attention to continuity.
A plot?
They arrive in this place after 16 years. There are no corpses anywhere.
Or skeletons.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no skeletons anywhere. Everything's been cleaned up. I mean, it's not cleaned up. Obviously, the place is ruined. But did they actually stick around and take care of all the?
Let's pretend they did. I don't think they wrote it.
It shows them hopping in their ship and leaving.
I don't think they wrote it in a way that explains it, but let's just say they got rid of the bodies. I mean,
how much cooler would that be, though, if she showed up to the tragedy of her childhood?
That would have been cool,
The bodies of all the people that she knew were still lying there, collapsed and decayed. Her mother's body is still lying there.
God forbid you should create an emotional response in your bored effing audience.
And here, when what's his face, when Sol arrives, Smilo Ren arrives to greet him, and he's like, "Great, she led me straight to you," or blah blah blah. And now they're battling again.
Fights I have ever seen. We've complained about this in some of the previous episodes. Some of the lightsaber fights have been pretty well done. Some of them have been in kind of mediocre, and some have been awful. This is absolutely awful. They almost never swing at each other. They are only swinging at lightsabers, or they are swinging at empty air. It is so terribly choreographed,
and the lightsabers look awful too for some reason.
Yeah, they've looked awful in this whole series. They look like off the shelf LED light tubes.
They look like this shit.
They look like that with the slightest amount of adjustment. Yeah, the slightest amount of CGI on them to make them look a little bit crackly. But then there is this moment when they are fighting on the bridge where then Sol decides to jump backwards off the bridge, and Mary Poppins slow-mos his way to the ground. It is the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen on Star Wars.
Wait,
it is so bad.
Is it worse than Mace Windu?
No.
Is it worse than Mace Windu in the prequels when he jumps off after confronting Count Dooku, and he just kind of
he slow-mo floats down backwards, and then the Sith guy follows him, sort of slowly. It's like wire fu, but it's done just terribly. Then they start with the lightsaber fighting again, and they are back to turning lightsabers on and off.
This thing is ridiculous. Also,
kicking. If you kick someone with a sword, not to mention a lightsaber, you are asking for your limbs to be sliced off.
This really seemed pathetic to me, this part. I couldn't understand, how they allowed this even in here.
It looks like crappy kung fu movies on why.
That's what I'm saying. They're like, let's make it like a crappy kung fu movie, and it's like, why?
This is apparently
like the Matrix.
This is apparently a thing that Dave Filoni wants in the show. He wants this force fu stuff because he thinks it looks cool. He thinks it looks awesome. So there's this force fu where they're constantly kicking and punching and headbutting each other and whatever. It's like, this is not. I'm sorry. That
It's not
lightsaber
Star
combat.
Wars.
Lightsaber combat was more or less based off of samurai combat, off of like kendo, where you're literally talking about two incredibly skilled experts who are going to face off with each other, and you're going to have 5 or 6 strikes and the fight is over. Like, and obviously they have to make it look more interesting. They got to
This
add
really
more
reminds
to
me
it
of
to
like
stretch it
J.J.
out.
Abrams, the boomerang thing.
Oh yes, yeah. This is straight out of the video games. Throwing your lightsaber using the Force, except he throws 2. Oh,
And I'm the idiot that's like, you could make this work and look amazing,
you
but
could.
I don't have faith in anyone working on this show.
And so then he uses the massive Force push to knock the lightsabers away and knock him down. I mean, granted, he should have been using the Force during this fight a lot more often, but that looked rather silly.
I can't show the whole fight, but basically it's a pathetic fight.
Oh, it's terrible.
And then May and Osha arrive and make the same faces at each other, like nothing is different.
Yeah. Oh, this dialogue. Oh, this dialogue between them is so terrible.
Wait, did that just switch, or is that the same girl?
No, it's that was one version, and now they're fighting each other.
And they're fighting, and they're using the same moves against each other, basically just mirrored. And the only thing I could think of during this fight scene is from an episode of Futurama, where you have
Perfectly
Leela.
symmetrical violence.
Yes. Perfectly symmetrical violence never solved anything. Yes. It's like they're literally using the same kicks and the same punches at the same time. It's just like in that episode. And I was rolling laughing.
The Devastator, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. So basically, back to this thing. This is, also very weird. This scene that they're fighting each other, it doesn't look good. Like the two girls, she's not a good actress enough to pull that off.
No, she's clearly not well trained in stage fighting either. The fights look terrible. There's one where literally one of the Osher, man, I don't remember which one, sort of props up out of the way so that the other one can do an unimpeded sweep underneath her leg, and it's just like, that's not real. That's not a real fight. It doesn't look real at all. It looks incredibly staged. We also see there's a scene where the two Sol and Chimere, the Sith, there are facing off, and they're holding each other's lightsabers to each other, and they sort of switch positions to where he's pushing the other guy's lightsaber into his face, but he's wearing the helmet that we have already seen can disrupt lightsabers. The only thing he has to do to break out of this grip, to break out of this stalemate, is to headbutt the lightsabers with the helmet, and they're both going to shut off, and he can escape from the grip. And
they don't remember powers from one episode to another. These are not people that have any kind of Bible of the show or the lore. They don't lay ground rules that make any sense. They're inconsistent. The characters are inconsistent. The way, if we just met them now and talked to them, they would represent what this show is. I promise you that if we just met the ladies that wrote this, they'd seem to us like dumb flakes that don't understand anything about Star Wars, because they don't.
They don't.
Now,
That's what
we're saying maybe they're good at other things. Maybe they're not dumb at other stuff. Maybe they're dumb at Star Wars. That's for sure.
Yeah.
They are complete jackasses with a different agenda, and then they use Pablo Hidalgo, who's been around since West End game days, to tell them that there's something called cortosis, even though we threw out the expanded universe. And they could be like, oh, we made this helmet out of cortosis. He can headbutt it. It'll shut off the lightsabers briefly, and then we can use that as a story device.
And then we're going to forget about that a few episodes later.
They don't understand the most fundamental thing about writing, and this show is an embarrassment. But back to this thing. May, I guess now is it May shows up dressed as
Yeah,
OSHA.
so now both May and Osha, I think, are there, or yeah, May
And
shows up, and she's trying to get him. She's like, "What? Tell the truth. Tell the truth about what happened. You owe us the truth about what happened. I saw you. You killed my mother. Blah blah blah." And so he has to sort of admit to having killed her mother because he had not
so,
told Osha that.
so right now, the guy is trying to be like Palpatine, like a callback to that. Strike him down, and your journey will be complete. But what? Sorry for the curse. What fucking journey? What fucking journey is this lady on? She has been making the same stupid fucking face for like 8 episodes or whatever it is. There's no journey here. Like,
I asked you that last week.
The journey is you're supposed to kill a Jedi without a weapon, right? And so they're here. They're gonna fight, and she's gonna get her kill without a weapon. And so
right, and then
then
he's telling her the quote unquote big reveal. You're not even twins. You're the same person. There was a
Yeah.
virgin, some blah blah. Who cares? Your mom
What is the
created you.
point
I
of
don't know how
that?
she did it. Who
no
ca-
point at all. It makes
No,
no sense.
makes
Like,
no sense. Just dumb.
what would
These.
be? Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
What would be amazing is if you did a show set like 200 years after Luke Skywalker, and then you had a justification for the Force deciding it needed to split one person into two, and then creating a new evil for them to face because that was the only way it could work. Like, who is this Smilo Ren? I don't even listening to all the reviews over however many weeks, I have no idea who this guy is other than beefy and naked. Like, and I
And
don't know
look at her
what the
face.
point is with these two twins. Like, I asked you guys last week, like, what the hell is the point of this story? What are we trying to accomplish?
There is
Are
no
we-
point. And look at her face. Tell me that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
It's the same face you've pulled up the last 7 times.
She's always making the same face. She's never changed her face. And now it's the other. She's playing the other one, and she's playing the same face again. And then at this point, this is like quote unquote the big twist, which didn't even matter. And even this thing that didn't matter, I saw it coming from 70 miles away. At the end, Soul confesses for killing the mother or whatever it is. And now Osha, who was supposed to be the good one, now she's angry at him. And then what she does is she force chokes him, which is how she
Yeah.
kills him without a weapon or who the fuck
He
knows.
finally admits to her that he killed her mother, right? And so he clearly feels incredibly guilty about this. He does not even take a second to say, "Oh, yes, I killed your mother," but at the moment she was turned into a huge black smoke demon and was dissolving your sister. So
Right.
yes, I killed her. He has absolutely nothing to feel guilty about.
No,
He
he
saw
did
a
the best
dark
he could.
force user doing some sort of crazy thing. Yeah, I would stab her too. Okay, it's just stupid. And so then she's out there and she's holding Soul, and she is force choking him. Okay, she's force choking him. So now it's seen. We figured it out. How do you kill a Jedi without a weapon? You force choke him.
And it's almost like she invented the force choke.
Yeah,
You know how
she
Darth
invented the
Vader
force
uses it?
choke.
OSHA invented it. In
Yeah,
case
she was the first to do the force choke.
She was
And
the
here's
first.
the part. There is nothing in this episode that pisses me off more than this moment, though.
This doesn't make any sense to me, and I'll tell you why. What happens here is like as she's becoming evil, her lightsaber is becoming red. But
Yes.
that's not how lightsabers are supposed to work, from what I remember. I mean, Anakin
Well-
Skywalker, he battled Obi-Wan, but they both had.
Yes.
His didn't turn red once he was
this
bad.
is kind of new. This is kind of
Wow.
altered. But the part that I'm talking about that pisses me off more than anything,
More than
Soul,
that.
Soul is sitting there with Osha. She's force choking him. And he willingly allows himself to be killed. He tells her to go ahead and do it, to go ahead and kill me.
She's like, yes, it's
Well, that's
okay. It's
modern
okay. Kill
writing.
me.
It's
Kill me.
okay,
It's
he
okay.
says. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
He, a Jedi master, tells his former Padawan, yeah, go ahead and use your anger and kill me and take the path down the dark side.
This is that modern
F
like fourth
you.
wave feminism wet dream of men apologizing and just like, yes, I deserve to die. And it's
As
like,
as a Jedi master, he says to his Padawan, yeah, go ahead and go down the dark side by
well,
killing me.
I'm sure
Rude.
Leslie justified it in her head as like, oh, this is like Obi-Wan because I've seen a Star Wars.
That moment there pissed me off so much, because that is, of all the stuff that they've done to kind of ruin the Jedi, to make
Just
them
quickly
look bad.
before we go on, I just a word from our sponsor. Flynn is a captivating documentary that provides an in-depth look into General Michael Flynn's life and challenges. The film takes viewers through General Flynn's impressive career, starting with his commendable ascent in the United States military. The heart of this narrative is the tumultuous period that followed his appointment as the National Security Advisor to former President Donald J. Trump. The documentary delves into the dramatic web of political intrigue and the intense persecution General Flynn faced after uncovering deep-seated corruption within the corridors of power. Flynn is now available nationwide. Visit flynnmovie.com to learn about the life and persecution of America's General Michael Flynn, including interviews with notable figures such as Tucker Carlson, Devin Nunes, Lee Smith, and more. So you should see this. It's on flynnmovie.com. That's FLYNNMOVIE.com, and you should all check it out.
More is my favorite. I'm just making a
And,
joke. I'm just teasing.
Yeah. So
And
right
now that-
after she kills Soul, she's holding his lightsaber, which has a blue kyber crystal in it. Okay. So then she begins to corrupt the crystal. This has been actually shown, I guess, in a couple of canon books recently, that what happens to a crystal to give them a red lightsaber, at least this is newer canon, Disney canon, is that the Dark Force user corrupts the crystal by bleeding it.
Yeah.
So they turn it red through their hate and their anger. They force that energy into the crystal. It bleeds it and it turns red. So what we're seeing is her corrupting that crystal in real time. We're seeing it while it's the saber's activated, it gets corrupted, and we see the red saber. So
yeah,
I think that's stupid. I do not like the idea of this corrupting the crystals, and then the reason that Ahsoka has white sabers is because she gets some corrupted crystals and then heals them, and that's why her sabers don't have colors in Ahsoka. I think the whole idea is stupid. It's not the worst thing that Disney's done, but it's pretty silly.
One of the worst things they've done, it was in like one of the earliest comic books before I stopped reading them. The lightsaber shored out after so many years. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This was like the ultimate weapon in all of the expanded universe. Luke Skywalker in Dark Empire 2 comes across a tree that actually was a Jedi Master for thousands of years. And underneath him, he finds lightsabers that are thousands of years old and they still function as good as they did day one. So then Disney's like, we're going to come in and make lightsabers crap. And I'm like, you're losing me. I'm sorry, that's a personal gripe.
It's okay. And then the next thing, so what happens is that she's like, yes, it's good, kill me. And then it's like she's gone to the dark side. You said it doesn't bother you. This thing that the lightsaber changes from blue to red, I think is lame and shitty. And I don't like this whole idea. and it
Yeah.
doesn't unless there's something in like the EU that explains this. I don't know how this.
There is nothing in the EU that explains this. This is all Disney. This is
This is
all
So
just
their crystal
dumbed down
bleeding
Disney
crap.
crap.
so then while they are facing off, we get to see that Vernestra, Harvey Weinstein's assistant's wife, shows up and immediately makes force contact with the Sith, with Chimera. He does not have his helmet on because remember he has a magic Magneto helmet now.
Right, but he's not
lets
wearing
Force
it that
users-
second.
Yeah, but he's not wearing it at that moment. He's taking it off. And so she connects with him and says, "It's you. You survived," or something like to that of that nature. So she clearly knows who he is. And of course, in a previous episode, we saw the strange sort of whip-like scar on his back. So clearly, she knows this Padawan. And later on, and she does say her Padawan that turned to the dark side or something. So
You know,
if you have,
just so
if
you
you-
know that after she turns to the dark side, they tried to tell her in this shot, show that you have an emotion, show that this kind of made you happy that you killed him. And this is the big emotional reveal. This is her big smile.
it looks like she had something bad for dinner.
Yes.
So if you had a magic Magneto helmet against the most powerful individuals in the galaxy, why would you ever take it off? Other than to be like, I'm hot.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So he puts his magic Magneto helmet back on, so that even though she's already connected with him, she's already recognized he's here. He pops the helmet back on so that he can escape, I guess. Just yeah. We find out as they run off, they're trying to get in using the elevator, and May says, "Oh, there's another way to escape." So she takes her back to the tunnel that she fell, or the hole that she fell down 16 years ago.
Still never
shows us-
explains how she fell and survived, but okay.
Well, it says she was sucked into the tunnel on the side. Like there was some sort of suction that pulled her in. So basically, they're trying to say that she survived the same way that Luke survived.
Yes,
in
I
Empire
love it.
Strikes Back.
Okay.
I love that
even
you
though
did that.
even though the tunnel that he falls into is essentially near the bottom of a giant dome, or
Right.
upside
There,
down dome.
there was also, it was part. There was like a ship. There was things. There was like a.
Yeah.
There was
Reason.
technology there. This is
Yeah.
just some cave in the middle of a cave. You know what I mean?
That has enough wind and enough suction to pull a human body, that is falling into it and off to the side without her getting killed. They
This is
escape
again.
back through that tunnel.
They keep doing these kind of callbacks, like the same thing of you'll complete your journey. Oh, like I'll see you in hell, like all those things. But when you have them in the original trilogy or whatever they're copying from, it's the prequels or original trilogy. There's at least some kind of reason why they exist there. Here, they want the idea to be copy pasted here, but they're not willing to do the minimal amount of work for it to somehow make sense that it's here. If I don't know if you understand what I'm saying, like.
Yeah.
They're just
All they know
ripping
how
it
to do is
off.
sort of copy paste. Maybe it's like you said, they're sitting with Pablo Hidalgo and he's like, you can do this, you can do that. And they're like, great, this is great stuff. And then they just use it. But they're not living and breathing this franchise.
No,
I keep
that
thinking
is
of
it exactly.
I mean, I can't forget that one writer that said that the second Leslie Headland heard that she never watched Star Wars and didn't like it, she wanted to hire her. I'm paraphrasing, but that was generally the idea, that she knew nothing about Star Wars, and that got Leslie Headland very, very excited for some reason.
Whether or not I can create my own science fiction universe and have it gain any merit, I'm still going through the motions of trying to build a sci-fi universe that is distinct to itself. They are handed Star Wars, and it's like, if you're doing sci-fi, you have to think of every single aspect. Like, even they did not earn this. They are standing on the shoulders of people, but they can't even be bothered to get in the same mindset.
They are so lazy. They're so lazy and so incompetent.
I will tell you one aspect that I have thought of and tried to redefine in my own universe just to be unique is spaceship design. Why do the ships look like this? Why are they angular? Why are they chonky? Why aren't they like these big frilly things in space where everyone's like, "Oh, yeah, there's no gravity, so they can look like whatever they want." And I'm like, that is structurally like irresponsible.
Mhm.
Like you I hate to keep saying Paul Chado is like nobody likes gear in this in these shows. George Lucas was a gearhead. He was into cars. He was into racing. He thought these things out before he put them on screen. All the designers, there was at least a base concept of we need a
These are
reason for this
these
stuff
are
to
not
exist.
people on that caliber.
Exactly.
They're not of those caliber. I mean, honestly, if you told me now that I'm making a Star Wars instead of George Lucas, that would be a huge responsibility. And even though I really like
Huge.
Star Wars and I've watched since I was a kid, and I'm very knowledgeable about the original trilogy and the prequels and about some other stuff, I guess. Even with all of that and how many times I've seen it, it's not just a natural thing that I would think, okay, I'll just sit here and I'll make Star Wars as good as George Lucas. I don't think I would. I think that I don't have the same kind of understanding. He feels the pulse, even if you don't like the prequels, at least visually, and the ideas of like the spaceships and the
Mhm.
you know the different designs of things. You could tell that he still weighed in on that and had a lot of great ideas, in my opinion. Even if you
Well,
don't like the prequels, it's still there was something there that
yeah.
he still brings his sort of.
Well, even though I don't like the prequels, he was still like thinking this is the height of a republic, and we're gonna see it as shiny and new and sci-fi as we can possibly make it. And then as we go into the older films, we'll watch a decay occur. Like
Right.
that basic thought, these people do not exhibit.
He had a lot of good ideas and thoughts for those prequels. I just think that the execution, because of the people
Mhm,
around him, and that
mhm.
there were too many yes men, the execution wasn't what it needed to be. I've
Yes.
always been able to appreciate certain aspects of it. I don't hate the
Mhm.
prequels, but I can understand why maybe they wouldn't be for everybody. But this is not that type of conversation. Here,
Yeah,
you don't have the minimum requirement of even understanding anything. And
nothing.
it's like what I said. I would consider it a huge responsibility for me, and not one that I would take lightly. And I don't know if I do a good job. Certainly, I do a better job though than this lady that never even heard of it, doesn't know what Star Wars is, and doesn't care about it. And Leslie Headland is like, yes, I wanted people like that because that way we could attract new viewers. Which
Mhm.
viewers do you think you're going to attract? You can't attract viewers if you don't know how to tell a story.
Yeah.
And that's all
No new
because
viewers are
of
going to come.
that's all Kathleen Kennedy's fault too, because she's like, I want to hire people that aren't fans. And I'm like, well, then you're not gonna make anything good. Like the expanded universe, there's an acknowledgement page on practically every novel I have on the shelf that says thank you to the people that basically can like made sure the expanded universe was on track. They're like, thank you for telling me how hyperdrives worked. Thank you for telling me how this works, and keeping me informed with the history as I wrote a new story and tried to expand. You don't have those people anymore.
Yeah, I agree. So, in any case, just back to the thing, they're on this planet. Leslie Headland's wife is like, I know where they are, follow me.
Yep.
Then,
And one thing I noticed, like in this scene, like every one of the Jedi has to have weird hair. There's like two or three of them with some sort of normal haircut.
Hmm.
The rest of them all have some weird outlandish hair, and
and
it's
every dude
stupid.
here looks beta. I
Oh
don't, I
yeah,
know that's a weird thing
absolutely.
to say. I don't see like one person with a little bit of urgency or like confidence or anything. They all just
Does
look like
that
a bunch of jerk offs.
does that one guy have a serious neck tattoo
Mm,
It wouldn't surprise
possibly.
me.
on the left?
It kind of looks like it.
Possibly, yeah. I
Weird.
will say they in this scene, of course, we get to see this again, this magical power that the Jedi seem to have, that they can perceive everything that happened. She can perceive all the fights and the conversations that they had and everything by using the Force. Yet
That's
earlier in the
a
series, there's Force users that can't track somebody using the Force, but she can look here and she can tell
well
everything that
that
happened.
that was a specific force power to Quinlan Voss back in the day, where he could touch an object and get a sense of its history or whatever, or
Oh,
events
she doesn't
around
have to
it.
touch anything. She just sort of looks
Oh, God,
around
is it because
and
she's a woman?
she looks around and she hears everything that's happening, everything that went on, and she even there's it in one of the episodes she asked that weird little Mog guy. She's like, "What do you see?" And like he seems to be able to look around and do the same thing. So apparently it's something that all the Jedi can do now. But
That's
yeah,
awful.
just infuriating.
It's like anything that they came up with in the past is fair game for idiocy. Like they have no respect for storytelling or like a character going through the motions. God forbid they ever try to adapt Koran Horn, because Koran Horn was a character that he was such a unique character in the expanded universe, where he would have to absorb energy before he could actually affect the world around him. Like he could not physically move stuff with force powers. I forget exactly why, but like it was such a unique character thing. Being a Jedi, where Jedi are supposed to be able to do anything, he was still limited. God forbid if they try to adapt that kind of an aspect into
Wasn't
that
there wasn't
character.
there isn't there a Jedi from this time that was a rock?
Yes, exactly.
Yes,
It's
Geo the Rock.
Geode? Yes, I don't. This is one I don't really remember personally, but yeah, there's.
that's on
I
the
mean,
level
yeah,
as
people were surprised there was a Wookiee. If there was a rock, then why wouldn't there be a Wookiee also?
why wouldn't there? But like they didn't even
Uh,
do him just as far as I've seen. They have not done him justice, because there was Lobaka. He was like Chewbacca's nephew in the expanded universe later on, and he was actually kind of cool. He hung out with Jason and Jaina Solo.
mhm.
The fact that they made a rock is like right up there with the stupid Vespas from Boba Fett.
Anyhow, back here, she finds Soul, and she's like, "Oh, sorry, my friend." Blah blah blah. Like she sees
Yeah,
him dead,
and she
and
senses that Chimera was watching her, or whatever. Doesn't do
right, but
anything
then
about it, but senses that he was there, I guess.
Wait,
And
who's
so now
Chimera?
the Sith guy,
the Sith guy, yeah,
Like
like
yeah,
Chimera or
discount
Chimera?
Sith, discount Sith. Yeah.
Is he supposed to
QIMIR.
be like
Yeah.
a combination of animals or something?
No, he's just Sith guy.
Even in this scene where she's talking to herself, the two like she's making the
Yes.
same face that she wants to like make out with herself. I know that sounds weird, but even here, she did the same weird blowjob face, and she's like
Yeah.
talking to herself.
Oh,
Acting.
this part is so terrible too, because she's like, "Oh, I survived when I fell down. I was sucked through this tube, and I came here to find you. I came here to this tree because I thought I could find you here." There is nothing. We are given nothing about how she possibly survived afterwards,
Nothing.
because there was nobody there. Like, there's no food, nothing. I mean, maybe she could find some food in the forest or something. Maybe she was taught some survival skills. I'll give her that. But how did she get off the planet?
Well, in the next
There's no
season,
one else there.
they will film two different angles and play it through several episodes.
Probably.
Yep. And then
So
we get
so
the return
Basil,
of
the fart sniffing weasel, shows up,
yes.
and or whatever, he's running around, and then this like the Sith guy shows up, and May makes a deal with him. She's like, "Oh, sorry, it's Osha that makes a deal with him." She's like,
Yes.
"Wipe her memory clean, and I'll go with you and be your
He
apprentice."
says, let my sister go, and I'll be your new apprentice. I'll be your new acolyte or whatever. And Chimera tells May, like, because you can't go back to them. You can't let the Jedi capture you, because you'll have the same fate as your mother. And the only thing I could think of was, well, if you don't turn into some sort of effing smoke monster in front of their faces, you're probably going to be all right. At least they're not going to run you through immediately, right?
And man, every time I see this thing, it says like Basil sniffing.
Yeah.
I can't stand this thing. I can't stand. Sorry, Sean. I know you like it. I can't stand
he's getting
this.
on my nerves. Actually, his head looked
This annoying
really
creature.
big.
I can't stand him. This is, if they give a little person work, I'm happy for that little person. This is the most annoying. This makes Babu Frick look like
I loved
Emperor
Babu
Palpatine.
Frick. Babu Frick was the only entertaining thing in that
Absolutely
movie.
the only thing worthwhile to come
Oh my
out
god, I
Except
have
Milo
I
Ren.
have a figure of him.
of. Yeah. So then they May tells Osha, that I'll stay here. You can wipe my memory. Of course, I guess this is a force power. This has been used before, not frequently, but being able to wipe someone's memory with force powers, supposedly is what happened with Darth
Yes.
Revan.
Yes.
So yes,
They're
it's
much better.
possible. It's out there, but it seems like it would be a lot harder than just sort of waving your hand over someone's head. But she says, you need to do what you were meant to do. So she tells Osha, go off and do what you're meant to do. That doesn't mean go off and be a Jedi like she always wanted to. No, she's telling her go off and become a Sith villain.
And it looks like they're gonna kiss. Like they look again like she wants to make out with herself.
I'll find you. Oh,
what a missed opportunity to play two different unique characters. Like one could be like the innocent and the other can have the swagger. Like
and then they're like, don't move, you're under arrest. And then she's like, what did I do? Because she doesn't remember now.
Face.
Yep.
So now they're here at the Jedi Council thingy, and they bring her and whatever, and then the Harvey Weinstein's wife. Where's the council meeting? Did they already have it?
Did you say Harvey Weinstein's wife?
The council meeting is yeah. She talks to her for a little bit, then they interrupt. The council meeting kind of is inserted in there in the middle of her telling the story. But what we find out essentially is this: that our hero, sort of our one of our central characters, Soul, did a terrible thing in what he did. Of course, no mention of the fact that it was self-defense, but he did a terrible thing. And then we find out that she is not only has been involved in the original conspiracy to cover up what happened on Brendock, which didn't need to be covered up in the first place. She's now going to be involved in a second conspiracy to cover up the previous conspiracy. It's when literally the original Jedi did nothing wrong. They literally, they made some mistakes, but in the end, they were fighting those witches in self-defense. They were attacked.
Those witches were bad. They were trying to save two little girls. The witch turned into some weird smoke and turning the girl into smoke. Everything they did was in the interest of trying to save these girls, and also, they thought that those witches were up to no good, which they seem to be up to no good. So I don't really know what the issue is here, but this show wants you to know that the Jedi are bad, and Soul, as a male Jedi, is especially bad.
Yeah. Yep.
But what was the point? Like a major aspect of Star Wars is mythology. So like you have twins born, and they're supposed to defeat the Emperor. I don't like the Chosen One storyline because I feel like it's cheap, but still, a Chosen One has twins. They're hidden away. That's very like Greek myth. Yeah. What the hell is the point of these two girls being the same person?
What
are they going to accomplish?
There was a virgins before Anakin. There were not one, but two children born of that virgins before Anakin. There are two people that are actually just one person, we're told repeatedly. How do they explain that? How does that actually play out in the story? Does it mean anything? Absolutely not. We're just repeated over and over. And so what we're given, what at the end is that Soul has died. Of course, again, he died by allowing his Padawan to kill him and join the dark side. Great. Then
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I want you to finish, and then
and so then we find out that Green Bean here is by far the biggest villain of this entire show. She uses Saul's death so that she can just drag his name through the mud and blame him for everything that has happened and continue her conspiracy. So
Right.
she, in the end, that character is the most evil character in this show. Leslie
Every-
Headland's wife.
But I feel like
everything-
Leslie Headland probably thought like that she's not evil. She's doing the best she can under these circumstances.
Yeah, sure.
But
To me, she looks like the most evil. But I bet you they think that she's great.
but everything you have described to me sounds like a bitter bitch.
That's exactly what she is.
Absolutely.
The entire story hates men.
It's a bunch of bitter bitches,
And
really, if you think about
hates
it.
being told what to do, and it just sounds like a bunch of bitter bitches. BBB. That is my rating for this show.
So yeah, she tells the councils
As
the
Melvin
whole
deeply
story.
says, the Jedi were the baddies. The witches weren't bothering anyone. It's not like they were sacrificing chickens and goats. Witches in name only. In any case, nice to see Joshua Calkins here too. This character is just annoying to begin with, and yes, she throws Saul under the bus. But then this guy is like, I now want an external review of the Jedi. I want a full Senate committee to look in the thing. And she's like, why? Saul was one bad guy. And he was like a messed up guy, and he's gone, and he's dead, and it's all good, man. And then they're just like, okay. And then you see that she actually, like, burned his body or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then May makes this actress makes the same face she's made. I won't say what that face is, but you all know. And then
Dude, every time you pull her up, it's the same goddamn face.
Same stupid face. I'm telling you.
I guess you can give her points for consistency. That's about it.
And then at this point, she's like, oh, you poor girl, you went through all this bad stuff. So basically now, and especially because she killed these Jedi who were bad, they're kind of like, sweeping this thing under the carpet, and she's going to get like the royal treatment. Meanwhile, her sister, who used to be good, now is the bad one, she stands there. And I think that she also
and holds hands
with the bad guy.
The Sith guy, yeah. Holds hands with the guy who killed a whole bunch of Jedi, stabbed Jackie, who was her friend.
Yord.
Whatever. Yeah, killed Yord. And so is standing there holding hands. So then we, go back and we see
this is so dumb.
A bit more. And this, Sean, is what I want you to see. This is the ultimate crime.
Yeah, all right. Oh, no. Does he speak?
No.
Is it Yoda?
But,
or are they trying to create a new Yoda?
No, it's probably Yoda.
It's pretty certain that that's Yoda. He doesn't speak. He's not in the credits or anything.
They're like, we're not freaking paying Frank Oz rates. We're not doing that. Or even the guy that did the Clone Wars.
The only thing that can be assumed is that Yoda is part of he is complicit in the cover.
Oh, I see.
He's complicit in this conspiracy.
He's pulling anything bad that's happening. It's Yoda doing.
Yeah, I would totally throw my phone through a window if I gave a crap about anything Disney.
No,
does.
this is not even Star Wars. This isn't even pretends. This is just crap. That's why I don't feel like even really upset about it. This isn't The Last Jedi. Nobody cares about these characters. This is just Kathleen Kennedy thinking that she's going to shove in things before the lore, so she has her own lore. But it's so pathetic and so poorly done that it's embarrassing, in my opinion.
Well, it's the same thing as her just taking lines from the other movies and expecting it to be Star Wars. Oh, I had him say, "I'll see you in hell." It's like, that doesn't make Star Wars. Like, Star Wars is Star Wars because it did original crap. Like, you just lifting it feels like, I'm sorry, I'm going to swear, fucking J.J. Abrams with his second Star Trek movie, where he did every single goddamn thing I said you should not do. It's like, oh, you should do the Wrath of Khan. No, you shouldn't. Oh, you should do this. No, you shouldn't.
No. It's just it has the exact same problem that modern Star Trek has had and a lot of other modern Star Wars. The only thing it does is reference itself. Just references old Star Wars, just references old
Exactly.
Star Trek. And so the only thing they can get away with, the only thing that they can survive is doing is, oh, remember that? Remember that? Remember that line?
Yeah, member berries.
Remember when Luke got sucked into a tunnel when he fell down a hole? Well,
Uh,
that thing happened to this girl too.
and
And
before
it's
him, like 100 years.
yeah.
One thing that I have said forever, I feel like, none of you guys would have known, but like, I was always like, if you want to write Star Wars, you need to read the original Flash Gordon comics because they are like beat for beat sometimes, where it's like you have the adventure, you have the setup, you have the random monster encounter, which is like the Wampa or the Dianoga or the Rancor, and then you have like the rest of the story. But like, I am adamant that you should be a fan of pulp storytelling before you ever tackle Star Wars.
Well, we talked about it a lot. I know that there could be a million things to be said about this show, but let's just try to summarize. You and me, Professor R2, and then Sean, you can just give your final thoughts. Let's just try to summarize the show in general. Basically, in my opinion, this show does not have a cohesive story. Every single aspect of it is lame. Whether it's the storytelling, whether it's the acting, whether it's the design, whether it's the choreography of the fights, the really every aspect of this show does not work, and together it has to be one of the biggest uh, fiascos, uh, in the modern age of entertainment in terms of how expensive this show was to make. I mean, if you gave me $18 million to produce 40 minutes of anything, and they get $18 million for that, and this is the best they can do, I think it's super embarrassing. What do you think about it, Professor R2?
Yeah, this is a disaster from episode 1 right through the end. I don't know where this 185 or who knows how much, the final total is going to be. Millions of dollars went into this show. Perhaps they paid a few different intimacy coordinators, but I can tell you this, they did not pay a script supervisor, and they definitely didn't pay someone to monitor the continuity for this show. It is a disaster. It is garbage. It has some of the worst writing I have ever heard in a show. Some just the story is a complete mess. Like I said early on, the whole motivation for the characters is lost as it changes from scene to scene, from episode to episode. We don't know that the character is going to do this, but then 5 minutes later they're doing something else that's completely counter to what it is that their stated motivations. And of course, those motivations are always just said out loud because that's the only way that we can do anything in a show like this. But it is just a mess. There are so many different places where I have no idea what the storytellers, what Leslie Head or whoever was writing that was trying to do with the show. The only thing we know for certain is that she thinks that the Jedi are evil. She wants a world of Star Wars that is morally relative, where you can have Sith that are good guys too, because they're just going out there just trying to live their lives and do their thing. That is not Star Wars. I'm sorry.
I,
This
I
show is
also
not Star Wars.
I also wanted to add a comment. Back in the day, being a Sith was meant something. When I saw Palpatine, I was like, "Wow, I'm scared of this guy. This guy is scary." This little twerp that's supposed to be the Sith here, he just seems like also a guy that he also is looking like he has this look in his eye that he's kind of this creepy. He's kind of looking to
Oh,
stick his dick in all these different places, and he has a creepy look. And together with this blowjob girl, just such a strange combination, acting wise.
yeah. I
Did he
think. Go ahead.
Did he even have a motivation? Did they ever give him one?
They didn't really explain it. He's just annoyed, and I don't know what. Maybe if somebody stayed awake long enough, they found a motivation. I didn't find one.
Yeah, no, clearly there was something there. He claims he was a former Jedi, that he was quite old, like he's been around for a long. He was Jedi a long time ago, so who knows how he was so young, but whatever. Uh, and that he has that scar on his back, and he appears to have some sort of connection to Green Bean. And so that's it. Other than apparently he was thrown away, quote unquote, as he says. That's his only real character trait. He was a Jedi, and he was, quote unquote, thrown away by his master. She claims he turned to the dark side. So yeah, maybe you were thrown away if you turned to the dark side.
Sean, just as somebody like witnessing whatever we're showing you and explaining to you, how do you feel about this show?
It makes no goddamn sense.
It's awful. Yes.
Like, even just when you want to tell a story, there has to be a point. And I feel like there has been no point to basically any of the shows that Disney has done with the name Star Wars. Like, it doesn't build towards anything. It doesn't present stakes that you'd be invested in. You guys don't even know what the motivation of this main bad guy is. If I made a show called The Acolyte, it would be purely focused on an evil character going through the story and what their motivation is. I would not meander on a planet for 6 episodes and then, 3, and then replay 3 the same events later on from a different perspective. Like, what the hell even was the point of this? Why did they name it this? And who's the bad guy? What do they want? What was their main gripe? If I made a sequel Star Wars trilogy, like, one of the best ideas I could come up with, other than introducing something new like the Yuzhan Vong or aliens that challenge the Jedi on a new level, I want to understand the original betrayal of the Sith and the Jedi, because in the comics they addressed it briefly, and it was like a falling out. There was a betrayal. Some Jedi left, and they discovered a planet full of the Sith people. They conquered them and were worshipped like gods. Like, tell me what happened between those two factions. That would be entertaining. I have no idea what the hell the point of this show is.
Yeah. The only stated motivations for the sort of main bad guy here, the Sith Chimera, is that he says he wants his own apprentice, he wants his own acolyte, as he says, and that he wants to live and use his power the way he wants. So he wants to go off and be evil and kill people and not be interrupted with, whatever.
That sounds like I should hunt him down and kill him before.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically what the Jedi do. They hunt down Dark Force users who are imposing their will on others by killing them or torturing them or whatever. Yeah,
that kind of sounds like an interesting story. Someone, a loose cannon on the loose, killing people. It's like, no, we need to stop them because they are horrendous. And then if you want to sprinkle in, oh, they're acting because of this and a misunderstanding or a betrayal, that's intriguing. Everything I see in this show is mundane and bullshit.
Well, I think we've summed it up. There is one other thing that I wanted to talk about today, and since it's getting late, I feel like maybe it's a good time now to bring it up. I thought of starting with it, but because the Acolyte was so fresh in my memory, I just wanted to sort of do that first. But in the past week, there have been a lot of things going on in entertainment. I think that the events of Saturday with Trump and the attempt on his life, I think that they've sort of, I don't know what word I'm looking for, because I think it'll take me time to see exactly what type of impact that event will have. But what I'll say is that, in the aftermath of it, I saw a lot of these kind of news stations, these mainstream media news stations, and trying more than they have in a very long time to give seemingly a more balanced picture, saying things like, well, the right feel that the left, by the way they talked about Trump, have really created a certain atmosphere of the temperature. Everybody keeps talking about the temperature. Meanwhile, you have these same news outlets saying that people from the left think that it's actually Trump and the right-wing people that they initially started raising the temperature. And the thing that surprised me that nobody talked about on all these stations was, on all this mainstream media outlets, was of the role of Hollywood in all of this and the responsibility of Hollywood. I mean, personally, for me, I can tell you it's that I don't really tell people who to vote for, and I don't feel like my entire identity is, surrounding who I would vote or not vote for. I've said before, I'm not a huge fan of politics or politicians. Sometimes you got to vote for somebody, but if somebody voted for one guy that I did like or didn't like, it's not really a big deal for me one way or another, and it's not how I generally judge people, or it doesn't decide which people I'm going to talk to or how I'm going to treat them or anything like that. But I will say that the entertainment industry in Hollywood, they had a huge responsibility, because entertainment is the one thing that kind of brings people together. So in a time when there's a lot of divisiveness, maybe that there are a lot of political divides, I think that entertainment could have been that thing that unifies people, that brings them together. But the problem is that when all those, and the majority of those entertainment people, are all hard left, and they want to peddle those same agendas and push it all, and they really contributed to the boogeyman type of conversation, and the anti-Trump rhetoric, whatever you want to call it, I think it's really hard to ignore their role in it. And for me, the sad part is, and sorry I'm rambling, I'll let you guys talk too. For me, the sad part is that they ruined something that was so important. You think about Star Wars, and that ties into what we just saw. Star Wars used to be this kind of universal thing. You could sit in the theater with people from all walks of life, watch it, and it was an inspiring story that was uplifting, and it had kind of very universal, traditional kind of lessons there. And Disney just vandalized it and turned it into some weird modern-day propaganda machine. And it's just an example for how things that used to bring us together are now kind of just driving us apart. If that makes any sense. So
Go ahead, Artoo.
No, I'm not even sure that. I think you summed that up pretty well. There has been a lot that has happened in recent years of many different productions, films, television shows that have clearly been completely captured by certain ideologies. And I think frankly, I think for a lot of people, it's been demoralizing to see that, especially happening with existing properties that they have. I mean, we see the Acolyte right here, right? It's I think frustrating there, but at the same time, there's also there's a lot that's going in injecting politics where it doesn't necessarily belong. So I don't know if it sounds like I'm just kind of repeating the same thing said, Bryce.
No. It's first of all, it's okay that we have similar opinions. You said it in a different way, but I think that what really bothers me and annoys me about this hypocrisy of these kind of people talking now, and these guys blaming this and whatever it is that how the media, the mainstream media, is ignoring the role of Hollywood, and how they had a responsibility to bring people together, to make movies that sort of that's what was so great about what used to be entertainment, is that I think that it really was able to take a group of seemingly unrelated people and put them in one space together and have them enjoy it, or just have them watch a show and connect to it. And it was never about how many people of color you put in or how diverse you are. It mattered that the stories were good and that people cared about their craft, and that there was a feeling that audiences needed to be entertained. And the fact that all of this happened, you can't ignore it. And it annoys me that the mainstream media is trying to pretend that Hollywood didn't have a role in creating this divisiveness in some of these narratives and some of what we're seeing now, and this temperature thing. They had a lot to do with it, and we saw even over the past few days, we saw things like Jack Black and Tenacious D, that incident where they said some pretty bad things, and
it was his bandmate Kyle Gass.
Right. He wished he was sorry that they didn't do a better job, the ones that they were trying to get rid of Trump.
Yeah, it was Jack Black. I guess it was Kyle Gass's birthday.
And they asked him to make a wish, and he wished that the next person has better aim or whatever it is.
He said, "Don't miss Trump next time." That's what he said.
Right, exactly.
And I actually went back and forth with someone today on Twitter, a perfectly nice exchange, but just saying like canceling their tour, all that stuff that happened afterwards. Yeah, exactly what should happen. And so we don't want to cancel people. We don't want to be the same as the other side. And I said, that's not what I'm saying. He has every right to say that. He can say that if he wants, whether he thinks it was a joke or he actually meant it, whatever, he can say that, but he's not free from the consequences of having said it.
I mean, basically, we were told all the time that there's consequences, and the same people that told us that now we're surprised that they're being held to that same standard. But you know what? With all the different consequences, I don't remember this being a thing where like a high profile, people that are high profile are just sitting around here and just saying that this person should be killed, basically.
Well, we that didn't have the internet forever.
Right. And it doesn't end even... It doesn't end with Tenacious D, who, of course, they all both apologized because they knew that their career, that guy, his career is pretty much over. And with Jack Black, he has a lot of other deals in place. So he's trying to just sweep it under the carpet and throw the other guy under the bus. I don't think there's anything sincere about it. I think that probably Jack Black initially didn't care at all that that's what was being said. That's just my opinion. And only when it seemed to affect his pocket did he suddenly wake up. I think also a lot of people are going to remember that just a few weeks ago he stood on the stage next to Biden collecting all this money for him.
Oh yeah,
really a bad look that this is happening in his show such a short time after the attempt on Trump's life. So I guess what I'm saying is, these celebrities are sort of showing their real faces. I'm not about canceling people, but these same people that were so obsessed about canceling everybody, you could just see these masks fly off and how they talk. And another person is Mark Hamill that seemed to be excited when all that stuff with Trump happened, and then he put some kind of post and then deleted it, and he's still complaining, and they're still comparing him to like the German mustache man and different things like that. It's like they've learned nothing. And
well, they won't until it's punching them in the face.
Yeah, it's there's a lot. Obviously, there's a lot of people in Hollywood and entertainment that don't like Trump. They don't like Republicans, whatever. They've had a lot to say on the matter in the last few years. And as it turns out, a lot of what they've had to say is essentially that what is the phrase that they all like to use? Threat to democracy.
Yeah.
Right. When you are telling people that this particular politician is tantamount to Mustache Man.
Yeah.
When there are literally graphics coming out from Democrat, outlets that have comparisons of President Trump to Mustache Man. When you are constantly telling people this is your talking point, this is your go-to thing to say he is a threat to our democracy. So what you are saying is that this political rival is going to end our form of government.
He's going to kill 6 million people.
He's an existential threat to human life and to our way of government. How is that not raising the temperature?
Yeah, exactly.
right?
They've been raising the temperature, and I'm still saying that let's say there was all this temperature. Entertainment used to bring people together. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? It used to be that you could have political issues, but then you walk into like you see a Star Wars movie and it brings people together. I may have told this story before, although I haven't told it many times. I was traveling probably in my early 20s, and I was in a country. I'll just say it was in Asia, and it was in the middle of nowhere in a place that was actually kind of rural, and I was there kind of like a traveler, and it was a place where there were some other travelers. Now I ended up in a room, in some place where like I'm hanging out and there's people from different places of the world, not even speaking great English, everybody, we're all just trying to sort of communicate. And I found it's a toy that I've never seen before or after. I think that I actually took it home with me, but I don't know where it is now, and it's been probably decades. It was some kind of trivia thing, but it was an electronic machine that had also like a little booklet with trivia.
Was it a
You,
holocron?
no, it
20
wasn't that.
questions?
It was like, think of like a cheap. It almost looked like a cheap. It's not a Fisher Price toy, but it looked like a cheap Fisher Price toy. It was like something gray. It had maybe some sounds and lights or something like that. But basically, you have trivia. And what happened is that I found myself kind of breaking the ice. I'm in the room getting to know a few other travelers that I happened to run into, even with the language barriers and all that stuff. I found this kind of Star Wars uh, machine, whatever it was, with a trivia, and I started asking questions. And suddenly, you saw all these people from different places in the world, from different backgrounds, sitting, and like really, everybody knew what Star Wars was.
It's
I'm in the
wonderful,
middle of
man.
nowhere. I'm in the middle of something that looks like a jungle in Asia, okay? And I'm
Mhm.
sitting with a bunch of travelers that have come from different places. And there's one thing that everybody knows, and that's Star Wars. And when I say everybody knows, it's not like this crappy thing that we saw now. It's like this enthusiasm. Everybody knows Darth Vader, Chewbacca, like Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and there's these kind of trivia from the movies, and people were knew enough English to kind of understand the things, and people are answering. We're talking about the movies, and that really showed how special and how powerful Star Wars was as an IP, because that's how universal those stories were, how people connected with them, that it doesn't matter who you are and where you're from, you could connect to those stories. What do Disney do these days with Star Wars? There's nothing that they
Nothing.
do that would ever be
Nothing.
equivalent. Nothing that I would suddenly be in the middle of nowhere and everybody would be talking about it and like really excited, and it's a part of their upbringing, and they're part of their culture and everything. This kind of common denominator. What they're doing now is not that.
You
So
have
in that sense, they failed, in my opinion.
True.
you
Yeah.
have cynical scumbags that are not fans of it, trying to use it to tell whatever BS that they want. It was based on Joseph Campbell's studies of the monomyth, the hero with 1,000 faces. So of course you're gonna run into people in the middle of nowhere because it appeals that know the story, because it appeals to a basic human level of like needs and wants and inspiration to do something great. Like all of those characters are they're like not iconic. What's the word? They're specific representations that everyone can identify with, and everyone can identify with being
Yeah.
a piece of feeling like a piece of crap on a
Yeah.
farm in the middle of
Archetypes, I
no
think, is the word you're looking
archetype.
for.
That's the word. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. And it's yeah, this is every time I say, "What the hell is the Acolyte about?" This is what I'm asking. It's like, why should I care about any story Disney tells? Because they don't care about an arc or a hero's journey or even redemption. I said
No.
before, I don't always agree with the choices that George has made, but at the heart of it, he's like, Star Wars is a redemption story, and I'm like, oh, there's some truth to that.
I mean,
Like
I if
I
if I
was
may, I understand why you don't like the prequels, Sean, and I can respect people that maybe don't like them, but I will say that the overall story is there. Meaning,
Yeah,
there's a
there's
framework,
mistakes, but it's there.
Mhm.
there's a blueprint that was interesting, and with the right people working on it alongside Lucas, people
Mhm,
giving him kind of input, him listening, making some decisions, and being in that kind of mindset that he was years earlier when he made the original
mhm.
trilogy. I think that there was a good story to be told here. The problem is that without anybody anchoring him and just letting him run wild, you got a trilogy that was had flaws in it. But I
Yeah.
don't hate it. I never
Yeah,
felt that he hated me. I never felt that he
yeah,
came
Oh
out and he
no,
hated his
no,
fans.
yeah,
no. He was just like, I want to do what I want to do, and I'm like, George, you're doing it wrong.
yeah.
Right. I mean,
I very much agree with that. When you're talking about the prequels, I've had this discussion many times. I too I do not hate the prequels. I don't hate them. I don't like them very much. I don't really enjoy them very much, mostly because I think that the dialogue is so terribly written. The
Oh
characters are
yeah.
so poorly developed. But there is at the heart of it a good story. There
He's
is a
still trying
story
to
there.
tell a story.
Yeah, and that with the right talent, if we had not had George there basically thinking he was a god, everyone around him kowtowing to him and, "Oh, yes, George. Oh, that's brilliant, George," whatever. If he hadn't surrounded himself with yes men and he had some real talent around him who was willing to challenge him and he was willing to listen to that feedback, if he had hired really talented writers to help him with the script and really talented cinematographers and so on to help him, like, I mean, come on, he still had a great soundtrack to those
Oh,
films because he
I
hired
love
an
them.
incredible talent to do the soundtrack, to do the music for those films. If he had done the same with the script, if he had done the same with the actors and the direction, and had let others with great talent come in and contribute to this rather than
Mhm.
kind of trying to run the whole thing himself without any kind of feedback, these could have been much better movies. They could have had a much greater impact than what they
Not
did.
not to get too far off topic, but like that's part of why the special editions piss me off so much because he changed so much, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
you're ruining the contributions of
Yeah.
so many talented people. But as far as entertainment being a source of people coming together, I hate to sound like a conspiracy guy, but when you have trillion-dollar hedge funds like BlackRock on like every corporate board across America, it's hard not to see it as intentionally trying to. I'm just gonna say it because, like, back in the day, Neil deGrasse Tyson gave a speech to Congress about NASA and funding the space program, and this is before I didn't find Neil deGrasse Tyson annoying, but he's like, people need to dream, and I totally agree with that, and I feel like entertainment is another form of that. Like, you give people a great story that they can all come together, and then it inspires them to dream about the possibilities of tomorrow, and it's really hard in current day to say it feels top down, like people trying to control other people by destroying entertainment and things that we love that used to inspire us.
and speaking of conspiracy theories, we have an interesting sponsor here. and
Nice segue.
Yeah,
I
right.
think we do. Hold on. Let's see.
Oh,
Do
hey,
you rely on big woke corporations and the corrupt medical establishment to keep you healthy? I hope not. Then why do you trust the same globally owned corporations to keep your pet healthy? It's time we stopped relying on them for anything. They hate us, want to keep us sick, and just want our money. We at Rumble started Positive Health because pets are an extension of our family, and it matters that they get clean, nutrient filled, vitamin rich superfoods to stay healthy and happy. That's why we created a range of superfood supplement waffles that your pet will love, packed with natural, healthy ingredients that promote better digestive support, bone health, vision, and immune strength. They're also rich in anti inflammatories, vitamins, and minerals essential for your furry family members. So head over to positive.com, which is PAWSITIVE.com, right now to check out our superfoods and other products. Use code STUDIO to save 15% on your first subscription order. So that's
They're
positive.com.
positively delicious. Your pets will thank you.
Positive.com.
Your pets will positively appreciate you.
Love it.
Now,
Yes.
back to what we were talking about, I also wanted to say that there's another thing. Even sports used to bring some people together, and they
Mhm.
infected that with this crap too.
Yeah.
I always got crap, and like there's certain things that I won't back down on, in the sense that I got a lot of crap for this from people maybe in 2020 when it happened, when you had all these athletes. The national anthem was playing, that Colin Kaepernick, you wouldn't kneel, you wouldn't this, you wouldn't that. He knelt, or I don't know, he wanted to kneel while they were doing the thing. At the end of the day, all of this was unnecessary. When
Yeah.
people watch a game, they want to be entertained. It's another case where people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, can enjoy a game, watch it together, root for a team together. And if you add this kind of element that there's politics being shoved down your throat, I think that's the wrong way to go about it. And I will never, I don't care what people say that they want to make him like some kind of victim. At the end of the day, he got paid tens of millions of dollars, and the people that paid him tens of millions of dollars in return wanted him to stand when the national anthem is playing. And that's what's important for them and their sponsors. Thanks to their sponsors, they can pay him $20-30 million a year. If somebody was paying me $30 million a year, I would stand when there's a national anthem. I would do it if they were paying me $1 a year. But for $30 million a year, I'm going to stand there and I'm going to let the anthem play. I'm not going to start kneeling. I'm not going to start shoving all this other propaganda that I want to stick in there. I just do whatever it is that I was paid to do. And like I said, and I think I recently said it, is that, LeBron James had that sentence, what, you want me to shut up and dribble? And I always say it, and I say it again. Yes, that's exactly what we want you to do. You get paid $100 million a year, and if you get paid $100 million a year, the best thing you can do is take the ball and dribble it and shut up. And I don't mean that personally against you. Anybody else making $100 million to bounce a ball around and shoot some hoops should probably just do that and shut up. Yes.
I had a teacher that was like, I forget what the context was, but he was talking about directors, and he was like, say the fucking lines and don't bump into the furniture. And it cracked me up.
And they've ruined everything.
It's entertainment used to be, at least most of the time, obviously there's lots of different types of entertainment, but a lot of the entertainment that we got was about enlightening humanity. It was about enriching the human spirit in some way. And obviously you have lots of different types of entertainment. Some people enjoy a horror movie or a slasher flick or whatever. Sure, if that's what you like, go and enjoy it. But we had lots of entertainment that was there to help remind us of our humanity, to help appeal to those parts of us, to our better nature. And I see none of that today. It's almost nowhere. Now, there are a few studios out there. There's like Angel Studios. Price, you mentioned recently seeing the
Sound of Hope. Did anybody else see it? It's a good movie.
I still haven't gotten to see it. We saw Despicable Me 4 with the kids this weekend. That was
I cleaned it.
That was ours. But still, I do want to see it. It may have to end up waiting for streaming. But there are so few studios out there, so few creators that are out there creating things that are really about uplifting people, about trying to encourage us to be better people. So much of what we have out there now has just been so thoroughly infected with ideology. And I think, Sean, you're right in some cases that we do have a lot of this sort of top-down pressure from groups like BlackRock that are in these different areas, helping to try and spread this ideology, to push this into these films. But you can't be surprised either that a lot of the people who are helping to make this quote unquote entertainment, that are producing these shows, writing these shows, the movies and everything, that they are bought into this stuff. They believe in it, and they think that this, this is going to help in some way improve our society.
I don't understand that though.
Yeah, I mean,
They're like
this
indoctrinated into it.
absolutely, they are completely indoctrinated into it, and so much of Hollywood is very much that echo chamber where you just have everybody around you all saying the same things and all thinking the same things, and so they start to believe that genuinely everyone out outside of Hollywood thinks exactly the same way they do. They do not have this connection to the average American, the quote unquote flyover country, right? These sort of meaningless people in the middle between New
Yeah.
York and LA.
California,
Yeah, but these people are, most of them, or a lot of them, have connections back to the land. They have parents who are farmers. They have connections, even a couple of generations back, to people who were living in poverty, and they're just doing their best to try and make it through day to day. They don't want to hear all of your ridiculous messaging. They don't want to hear about how evil they are and how they're supposed to feel guilty for
Yeah.
just having been born white. They don't want to hear about how they're supposed to feel guilty because they got this privilege or whatever, when they're living in a trailer home and can barely afford to keep their lights on.
There's a couple of points. The top down thing also, just real quick. When you hear people like the World Economic Forum, and they're like, you'll own nothing and be happy. I'm like, it's really hard to not see them trying to crush the spirit of everyone through every means of entertainment possible. Another point is, I'll just be honest with you. I joked. You said, have you seen The Sound of Hope? And I said, I've cleaned it. I had a full-time job for a while, like 4 years, doing quality control for movies and shows for streaming and television. It was the cushiest, best paying job I have ever had in my entire life. They outsourced the department overseas. For a year, I have been looking for a job to replace it. When I finally started applying to part-time BS jobs, because in my head I grew up like, you get like the McDonald's job, or you do this crappy job, and then you grow up and you get a good job. It's eye-opening to see the world fall out from under you, and then you're back to where you were when you were 15, cleaning theaters again. So I wonder sometimes if I was meant to be taught this lesson over, you're never too good to do this. You're never too good to shovel shit. So I do it now, and I'm grateful. And so like when I see like Hollywood and I see their messaging, I'm like, you guys are so deluded. Like, you are so far away from the pulse of what it even means to be a human being, that do not lecture me. Do not lecture these people. You're assholes that have never suffered in your life. Most of you just went to college. I went to college for way too long. I'm in massive debt. And I'm just like, you have no right to lecture these people. You have no right to talk down to them. You have no right to try and change their lives through, what did the BlackRock guy? Oh, people need to be forced into their behaviors.
Yeah, you gotta force those behaviors.
Go fuck yourself. I can't believe how arrogant you sound saying that.
You will own nothing and you will be happy.
I cannot believe we are listening to a German say that. And I'm German. I'm like,
you
Jesus.
will eat the bugs.
Oh, Bill Gates can just kiss the fattest part of my ass. I'm like, I love hamburgers. I will stab you in the throat if you try to take them from me.
Just to make it clear,
In
I mean,
Minecraft.
no, yeah, no, we don't support any kind of violence.
No. No,
Nope.
especially, oh my God, it's so many people this week. Uh, I am very happy to hear that people are losing their jobs or being publicly shamed for the horrendous attitudes
Oh,
about the Trump thing. And I'm like, this
Too many
we
people
used
just going out and they're happy about it and they're
oh
just
yeah,
saying, "Oh, this is so great." That's
because
really an
they've
issue.
grown up
yeah.
I mean,
being on the internet.
I'm against this kind of. I wouldn't want anybody. I mean,
Exactly.
whoever the former president would be, no matter what party, the former president would never
Yeah,
want to see anybody like that shot or
because
anything like that.
anybody.
I feel like not that I would want to see anybody out of politics. I mean, it's not that I'm interested in seeing people uh, bad things happen to people, but I'm
Yeah,
saying generally speaking, even more so as a democracy, a former president. Having that kind of thing around him and with his life in danger like that, that's a badge of shame for us as a country.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
And it's like,
it is, and so much of it too has been not just randoms spouting off stuff. I mean, we've seen that. There's plenty of that out there. If you go,
no, you mean
I
like
know,
you see like actual people like Mark Hamill sitting around there, and he really seems like
yeah,
he's sad that the person didn't complete the thing.
yeah. And
Uh,
there's more. There are so many people that I've lost so much respect for in recent days, and a few that genuinely I've gained some respect for, because in Hollywood, obviously the attitude is, well, we want to get rid of this guy by whatever means necessary, and so we're gonna go make jokes about it, right? And so there's been quite a few, one in particular, Tim Russ, from who's Tuvok on Voyager. He's been out there nonstop making cracks about Trump and the attempted assassination and stuff. Just vile stuff.
it's
Unfollowed him on
unbelievable.
Twitter. No interest in ever hearing a word from this man again. He can go away. Uh,
It's
interesting.
unbelievable how much it's destroyed the image of celebrity.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, same show, Star Trek Voyager. Roxanne Dawson, who played B'Elanna Torres, she's also a well-known a director. She's directed a whole bunch of different television. She came out almost immediately with an incredibly sensible, balanced saying, "Look, there's nothing there is no one person who is going to change this, whether this guy wins or this guy wins. If our person doesn't win, we pick up the pieces and we do what we can to move forward, and violence is, can never be the answer."
of
And it
course
was
not.
just
Of course not.
it was this incredibly generous, thought out, response saying, "Look, this is not there is no reason for us to have taken this to this point." Right?
Exactly. And
And
that's
Yes.
so
all like
there's
media and hype, and it's like we got to
yeah.
use the most I am a person that deals exclusively in hyperbole. It drives my wife nuts. I'm like, there's like 9,000 people there, and she's like, Sean, there are 5. Calm down. But like that's all the media does. They try to find the most hard punching, ridiculous, over the top thing they can say to rile you up to get them
Yeah.
get you on their side. And I'm
And
like, you caused this. And then like the next day they're like, oh, maybe this is too much. And I'm like, do you think?
yeah, and this
And
really the saddest thing for me was too that seeing someone like Roxanne Dawson, a Hollywood person, every motivation, in her little bubble to say something outrageous, something ridiculous, and instead she says something very sober and very touching to a lot of people, and the responses that she got, the replies that she got from people, so hateful and
Oh,
vile, and just oh, how dare you defend such and such guy and whatever. It's like you're literally you people are literally talking about how you wish someone who has a wife and kids had
especially.
been murdered.
Yeah.
That this is preferable to you that a human being with a wife and kids, family, had lost their life. That this is better for you
Yeah.
in some way, and that's just
It's
it's just
gross. It's
And
yeah.
the internet generation. I think the internet was one of the worst inventions for humankind.
for sure, the
And
travel
social
information didn't
media.
help.
On
Social
top of it.
media, especially. I still love that I can look up words while I'm reading a book and just go right
Yeah.
back to it. I don't have to pull out the dictionary anymore. Like, boof.
But in any case, companies like Disney have really established uh, the kind of narratives they want to push, and really hurt entertainment and hurt that thing that people get together, and it brings them together, and they turned it into something divisive. Not just Star Wars, but Star Trek and almost Doctor Who. Almost every great
Oh
sci-fi
yeah.
franchise has gone through this. Star Wars just may be the highest profile one. I also know this from Quantum Leap, which is a show that I like very much, and they ruined that one too. They're not capable of not trying to ruin things right now. But I think I'm really hoping that maybe this thing, the events of the past week, will eventually have some kind of positive effect. I don't know if they will, but I really hope they will.
Yeah.
And I guess on this very positive note, we can probably head out for tonight, because I feel like after this whole Acolyte thing, I feel
Yeah.
like I need to take a nap. I'm like Biden now. I need to take a nap after
You
the
need lots
Acolyte.
and lots of naps during the day, but
He
yeah.
turned his head and it hit his
Oh
ear.
yeah.
And I was like, holy shit.
Yeah. If you
Imagine
see,
if he hadn't done this.
yeah, I mean it's
Like,
an
what the
absolute,
hell would this world be today?
whether you believe in in a supreme being or not, uh incredibly lucky, incredibly blessed, something.
Yeah.
Literally, had he not turned his head when he did, it would have taken off the back of his head. He would have died. And so, some kind of divine intervention. The universe was there to protect him in some way.
He was protected for
Maybe
whatever
it's just
reasons.
some
Yeah.
luck, but yeah, it's incredibly sad that we continue to see so many people not only just having some really bad takes on the attempt on President Trump's life, but then just continuing on with the same rhetoric that they've been going on with for months now, that brought us to this place in the first
For
place.
sure.
So it's
I'm
it's
sorry.
it's real sad.
I'm sorry to ruin your outro, Bryce. I'm so happy that so many people are like, whoa, maybe we fucked up for too
Yeah,
long.
maybe
I'm very happy
we've
about
gone a
that.
little too far, and I hope that feeling continues. I hope that
I hope
there's
so, but I
more
feel like
people.
it may just be a temporary arrangement, but we'll have
Yeah.
to see how it plays out.
We'll have to
And
see.
I
Yeah.
guess if you guys have some very final comments, say them, and if not, we can just be on our way.
I'm good. I
I'm
think
good.
we've said plenty tonight.
I think we've said a lot of things, and we're going to continue our conversation this Thursday, also at the same time on the Night Owl. And I want to thank everybody who tuned in today to watch our show. And I hope to see you again here Thursday at 11:45 p.m. Eastern. So before I go, just make sure you're subscribed. Any platform you're on, check out the real Sean Krummel, and then Professor Artoo. He has a YouTube channel, although he hasn't started posting yet, but you could follow him if you'd like.
Yeah, follow me on Twitter.
And on
We'll
Twitter.
chat there.
Twitter is even better. And
X,
then
whatever you want to call it.
X, whatever you want to call it. And I guess it's been such a pleasure talking to you all, and we'll see you again here soon. So thank you guys, and good night.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Love
Good
each
night.
other.
God bless America.
Be good to each other.